The girl thanked the fairy and returned home again. The next morning, when her father, as she had always called him, came to see her, she told him that she could give him no answer until he had presented her with a dress the colour of the sky. The king, overjoyed at this answer, sent for all the choicest weavers and dressmakers in the kingdom, and commanded them to make a robe the colour of the sky without an instant's delay, or he would cut their heads off at once. Dreadfully frightened at this threat, they all began to dye and cut and sew, and in 2 days they brought back the dress, which looked as if it had been cut straight out of the heavens. The poor girl was thunderstruck and did not know what to do, so in the night she harnessed her sheep again and went in search of her godmother. "The king is cleverer than I thought," said the fairy, "but tell him you must have a dress of moonbeams." And the next day, when the king summoned her into his presence, the girl told him what she wanted. "Madam, I can refuse you nothing," said he, and he ordered the dress to be ready in 24 hours, or every man should be hanged. They set to work with all their might, and by dawn the next day the dress of moonbeams was laid across her bed. The girl, though she could not help admiring its beauty, began to cry, till the fairy who heard her came to her help. "Well, I could not have believed it of him," said she, "but ask for a dress of sunshine, and I shall be surprised indeed if he manages that." The goddaughter did not feel much faith in the fairy after her 2 previous failures, but not knowing what else to do, she told her father what she was bid. The king made no difficulties about it, and even gave his finest rubies and diamonds to ornament the dress, which was so dazzling when finished that it could not be looked at save through smoked glasses. When the princess saw it, she pretended that the sight hurt her eyes, and retired to her room, where she found the fairy awaiting her, very much ashamed of herself. "There is only one thing to be done now," cried she. "You must demand the skin of the ass he sets such store by. It is from that donkey he obtains all his vast riches, and I'm sure he will never give it to you." The princess was not so certain. However, she went to the king and told him she could never marry him till he had given her the ass's skin. The king was both astonished and grieved at this new request, but did not hesitate an instant. The ass was sacrificed, and the skin laid at the feet of the princess. The poor girl, seeing no escape from the fate she dreaded, wept afresh and tore her hair, when suddenly the fairy stood before her. "Take heart," she said, "all will now go well. Wrap yourself in this skin, and leave the palace and go as far as you can. I will look after you. Your dresses and your jewels shall follow you underground, and if you strike the earth whenever you need anything, you will have it at once. But go quickly, you have no time to lose." So the princess clothed herself in the ass's skin and slipped from the palace without being seen by anyone. Directly she was missed, there was a great hue and cry, and every corner, possible and impossible, was searched. Then the king sent out parties along all the roads, but the fairy threw her invisible mantle over the girl when they approached, and none of them could see her. The princess walked on a long, long way, trying to find someone who would take her in and let her work for them. But though the cottagers whose houses she passed gave her food from charity, the ass's skin was so dirty they would not allow her to enter their houses, for her flight had been so hurried she had had no time to clean it. Tired and disheartened at her ill fortune, she was wandering one day past the gate of a farmyard situated just outside the walls of a large town, when she heard a voice calling to her. She turned and saw the farmer's wife standing among her turkeys and making signs for her to come in. "I want a girl to wash the dishes and feed the turkeys and clean out the pigsty," said the woman, "and to judge by your dirty clothes